Your boy MC Shadow. So ending now the SGV, but just concentrating on Pomona, the city of Pomona, and its writers. You know what I mean? So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, check out the playlist on top. And now I'm gonna be representing for the homies from Pomona, from the Pomona town. They be doing their thing, and you know what I mean? So starting off with
it's a G life, serving in a G ride. Who bang, homie, clutching on the 4-5. Don't ever slip, cause you do, boy, that lead flies. Cause at the bottom we stay hunting in that moonlight. You hear the click, you hear the bang when we pass by. This ain't a game fool, the riders really earn stripe. That's on the gang fool, forever on that main line. And it's a thin line, so homie better act right. We keep it active, really active up on this side. You hear the whistle as they're throwing up their gas signs. The crime rate in the hood always stays high. Banging for the bottle, trucha for the one time. We stay posted, drinking till the sunrise. We stay posted, drinking till the sunrise. It's that G life, swerving in the G ride. Who bang, homie, clutching on that 4-5. Don't ever slip, cause you do, boy, that lead flies. Cause at the bottom.
Alright, here you have Pomona 12th Street, or as they're known as the Sharkies. You know what I mean? That's their main clique out here now. Pomona 12th Street. This is the first neighborhood in the city of Pomona. You know what I mean? They are the largest. This neighborhood has been around since the 40s. Definitely deep, definitely active. Definitely be doing their thing. You know what I mean? They definitely ain't playing. You know what I mean? Now their neighborhood is right there on Gary Avenue. Is where you can find them. So what's 12th and Gary? Now how they got their name, Sharkies, is because of Sharkey Park, obviously, or was known now as Madison Park. But Sharkey Park is the reason. That's their clique, and why they're known as, the Sharkies. So which is right there on 12th and Gary. Now, some people want to say that Pomona was actually the first neighborhood, or Cherryville, but it was actually the 12th Streeters. As a matter of fact, the 12th Streeters, Cherryville, Pomona, they started Cherryville, Pomona, and Pomona, Suit Olive, which are two old school neighborhoods, and the other neighborhoods that you hear about in Pomona, actually branched off of 12th Street. They used to be a part of 12th Street. You know what I mean? So 12th Street was the first neighborhood, and it is the largest. You know what I mean? They had sub cliques, throughout, even though they broke off and went to do their own thing. But nonetheless, you know what I mean? They're the originators out here, in the city of Pomona. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's who the 12th Streeters are. And like I said, man, they be active, they be with it, and doing their thing. Shout out to the homie Big Puppet. Gracias, my boy, and shout out to the homie Moreno from 12th Street, and shout out to all the homies from Stoner. Shout out to the homie Stoner from Sharkies, and shout out to all the homies from Sharkies that be doing their thing. You know what I mean? Now here you have Cherryville. Now Cherryville is a neighborhood that's been started since the 60s, so it is an old school neighborhood. You can find them right there on Hamilton and Holt. Where the Hamilton Park's at is where you can find Cherryville. You know what I mean? Cherry's neighborhood. Now people like to clown on the name, but Cherryville is definitely with the business. They're large in numbers. They definitely keep it active. They're one of the neighborhoods that puts Pomona, up on the map. Next to the 12th Streeters, and the Pomona Suits. Cherryville definitely be with the function. Now, how they got their name is, obviously, throughout those outskirts, how they had all the cherry trees, bushes, whatever, throughout that whole neighborhood. That's what that neighborhood was known for. Matter of fact, that's why a lot of people go out there and cherry pick. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why it's known as Cherryville. You know what I mean? And they definitely with the business, and definitely be holding it down right there for their neighborhood. They definitely active, and they're one of the neighborhoods that's more known, obviously, because of the rapper Little Minor from Old Town, Mafia Records. That's the neighborhood. That's his neighborhood. That's where he's from, and definitely been putting it on the map. For a cool minute already. And yeah, so shout out to the homie Sleepy from Cherryville. That's a feed me homie. Shout out to the homie Danger from Cherryville. And shout out to all the homies from Cherryville that be definitely representing and doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? Now here you have Pomona Olive Street. They're the same as Pomona Sud Olive. They just write it differently, so you could find them PSO, or POST. It's the same thing, depending on whoever's tagging it at the moment, how they're writing it. You know what I mean? Now their neighborhood is right here on Orchard, where the Angela Street Park's at. That's where their neighborhood's at. So they've been around since the 60s, around the same time as Cherryville, since both were cliques that branched off of Pomona 12. Now, this is one of the neighborhoods that you definitely hear about, putting it, on the map for them. Pomona Sud Olive, they definitely with the business. You definitely hear about them. And yeah, they be right here representing for the neighborhood and holding it down, definitely keeping it active, and doing their thing. That's who they are, you know what I mean? Now here you have Pomona Sud. Now Pomona Sud, PS. They're right there on Mission Boulevard and Hamilton Boulevard on 6th Street. It's where you can find them. They definitely active, they definitely deep. So they be doing their thing right there, representing for their neighbor. You know what I mean? You definitely hear about them doing their thing right there in Pomona, and putting it on the map. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's what's up with Pomona Sud. Now here you have Westside Pomona. Now Westside Pomona is roughly one of the smallest, but nonetheless, man, they with the business. You definitely see the activity. You definitely see them up. Their neighborhood is what's right there. Was known as the Kiwiburg Park. I think that's the name how you say that damn park. But that's that's what their neighborhood is at. You know what I mean? So throughout those outskirts, and they definitely be holding it down right there. Definitely putting it on the map. You know what I mean? They definitely up. You see the activity. You can't even say you don't. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's Westside Pomona definitely holding it down right there. For their neighborhood. Shout out to the homie Villain from Westside Pomona. That's a feed me down homie right there. And shout out to all the homies from Westside Pomona that be doing the thing. For their neighborhood right there. You know what I'm saying? Now here you have Happy Town Pomona. Now this is a neighborhood that you do hear about. It's an old school neighborhood, been around since the 70s. You can find them right there on Austin and Barjard by Valley Boulevard. So throughout those outskirts, it's what's considered Happy Town. You know what I mean? So it's HT, and then when you see the R's, obviously Rifa. You know what I mean? You hear about them more now of lately because of that's the neighborhood that Drummer Boy, the rapper, that's where he's from. So when he's shouting out Pomona and everything like that, that's his neighborhood. That's where he comes from. You know what I mean? And they definitely deep, and they be doing their thing, and they've been doing their thing right there for a cool minute. So yeah, that's what's up with Happy Town Pomona. You know what I mean? Now here you have Pomona Sur Locotes. Now Pomona Sur Locotes is another smaller set, of Pomona, but nonetheless, man, they with the business, definitely be doing their thing, so that's the neighborhood that when you see PSL, that's who they are. You know what I mean? They be putting in work, even though they're not as large as the rest of the Pomona sets. Nonetheless, man, they with the business, they definitely keep it active and been doing their thing. You know what I mean? They're not that old school. You know what I mean? They've been around since the 90s. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, they be putting their neighborhood on the map and doing their thing. RIP to the homie Maniac from Sur Locotes. That was a firme with it homie. And shout out to all the homies from Pomona Sur Locotes that be doing their thing. Now here you have the Ghetto Family. Now the Ghetto Family is a neighborhood. They used to be a tag banging crew. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, so they stay on the east side of Pomona. So their tank crew was, a tank crew since the mid-90s, but became a neighborhood since the 2000s. You know, their neighborhood is right there on Indian Hill, and Laverne is their neighborhood. That's where you can find them doing their thing, definitely representing for their neighborhood. Uh, you know, so not to be confused with like the other, you know, subsets of Pomona, or like, or they're a clique off Pomona or East Side Pomona. No, they're their own thing, you know. East Side Ghetto Family. So East Side of Pomona Ghetto Family is how you'll see their neighborhood of the GF. You know, they use the Green Bay Packers as their, you know, their logo. You know what I mean? You know, that's why they, with the green bandanas, you know, people be like, nah, they're not sureños because they're not having the blue bandana, the green. Nah, that's just their own separate color. That's just, you know, a thing that's a part of their neighborhood, but they are sureños, you know. And definitely active. They, you know, they with the business. You know, they got their writers. R.I.P. to my homie, Felon, from Ghetto Family. That was a witty homie and firme camarada. And shout out to all the homies from Ghetto Family that be holding it down right there for their neighborhood, right there in the east side of Pomona. You know what I mean? Now here's late entry right here, which is RXU or RU LS, which is Raza United Locos. Now I can't confirm if they're neighborhood, but that's how they write, you know, 1-3. But I can't confirm if they're a 1-3, you know. But that's what they be putting in, you know, and stands for Raza United. Their neighborhood is right there on 9th Street in Pomona. And yeah, that's who they are. You know what I mean?